Hi everyone, I Samir Shukla am here with another Take 5 video at Goa Institute of Management. As we gather here for the Grand Alumni Meet 2017, we have with us our very distinguished alumnus for the batch of 98. The Chairperson and Managing Director from Indiabulls Housing Private Limited, Mr. Gagan Banga. Welcome to our campus, sir. Honored to have you here.
Thank you.
So, today is all about reflecting back upon GIM and its learnings.
Yeah.
So when you reflect back upon your learnings, how do you think you still use them in your day-to-day life?
I am in the business of finance. I also run a large organization. So in both, GIM played a big role. We had a finance professor, Professor Uday, who used to give us what he used to call ET quiz. So I don't know whether you guys still have it today or not. So in ET quiz, he would just cut out an article and say, and he would ask us questions around that. I think that kind of made me a lot more practical around the otherwise complicated concepts of finance. And it also taught me that in the world of finance, while most of finance is possibly the second oldest profession in the world, as we say it, but it is constantly changing. And within that, India is constantly changing. And what is important is to continue to learn new concepts every day, to understand what's happening in the world every day. And I think that's the single biggest learning as far as finance is concerned. Any textbook can teach you derivatives and stock markets and whatever else, but accounting, for example, is not a debit and credit. Right? Accounting goes much beyond that. And this is especially true maybe 20 years later, because in India today we are, for the last 2 years and possibly for the next 5 years, going to go through massive legislative changes. One big change is that the entire accounting standard that India follows is going through a complete change. From our own accounting standards, we are now going more towards IFRS, which is a big change for any organization. And the openness to try and get to the core of what is being proposed as a change was kind of instilled in through this ET quiz that Professor Uday used to teach us. The other is that I think the whole concept of, so we used to have a subject called organization behavior. I'm sure you guys still have it. So while it was frankly a very boring topic for me, but the one thing that I could understand out of all that is that an organization's behavior is to a large extent summarized in its employees' behavior, which in some sense is a consequence of the executive management's behavior with the employees, which then in turn reflects in how they work with the customer, and the rest of the organization, the product and the market perception and whatever else happens, it's just an outcome of that. So therefore, the way that as the chief executive I have to deal with my employees in some sense is not only influencing my inner circle, it is influencing how the last employee will talk to the customer. And that was the other big takeout that I had out of the otherwise boring OB. So I think these are two things which I would think of theoretically or from an academic point of view, some of the best learnings, the most significant learnings. The other big learning is that culturally, I learned to live within constraints. So I was just reflecting to your colleague while walking in here that the campus that we had was like perhaps smaller than this section of your campus, right? And to live with constraints, and then if you progress, those constraints and a reminder of those constraints is always a humbling experience. And to stay humble is very important. So it's very good, and I'm so very happy that you guys have a fabulous campus and all of that. I hope You also aspire to have a bigger campus, a better campus, a more functional campus. But yes, it is very important to also always reflect on the constraints that one has come through.
So, in your career graph, you've seen so many challenges, and that really serves as an inspiring story to most of us. Then, what kept you going through all of those?
In my speech earlier today, I spoke about two things. One is purpose, and the other is love for what you do. So, generally, in the matters of heart and love and all of these things, you kind of, there is no one number which will tell you, but you'll kind of know that, okay, I like this, right? Or I like this person, or I like what I'm doing. So I think I like what I do, and I think it's a great sense of achievement that one gets every day of having of getting a shot at building a financial institution. Not too many people get that opportunity in a generation to build a financial institution, especially from scratch. There are very, very, very few examples of large-scale financial institutions globally being built in one generation. And that opportunity is such a rewarding opportunity, not for me personally from a sense of the wealth that I will make or anything else, or the power that it gives me, etc. It's just that it gives me a lot of satisfaction to build. The other is that there is a purpose, and that purpose is very well kind of articulated in my own head, that I have to stay relevant. Right? If I am not relevant, then I feel that I will lose respect for myself. So I am not that type of a person who can go back, sit back, go to a mountain, put his feet up and say, oh, I've done so well in life, and now let's have a pot belly and a beard, right? And enjoy life thereafter. That's not me. So I need to have a purpose. That purpose has to keep me relevant, and staying in business with all of its challenges allows me to remain relevant. So with this purpose and the fact that I like, love what I do, I think it's okay. Challenges will come and go.
Very well said, sir.
Thank you.
And what better than the occasion of an alumni meet to
Yeah.
share some fond memories of GIM with us?
Yeah, so some of my batchmates are here. They've been all pulling my leg on how at the end of, towards the end of every class, I would ask some question. So that I was thinking about, and it is indeed amusing to think about it. I think the overall space that GIM and Goa and all of this gives somehow always brings a smile on my face. It's where I have found myself in some sense. I did not know that I was enterprising and it did not happen in GIM per se, it happened outside GIM, but in the quest of being able to make some money, do something productive, Goa is the place where I realized that I have a sense of doing business, and that shall remain my fondest memory. I have built a few relationships. One is not as much in touch with them as I ought to be, but I still value those relationships. And I think very importantly, I still feel a great sense of respect for some of my teachers, not all of my teachers, but some of my teachers. I think they've really helped me become the person I am. So yeah, those are my fondest memories.
To wrap up, just a few pointers for aspiring MBA grads.
The biggest pointer is that the world out there is actually way more complicated, harder, tougher than what as a student some of you would have encountered so far. So as those challenges come your way, keep yourself driven, take care of yourself, because you will require that energy to keep going every morning, especially when things are not going right. And while it is all right, and I myself was a few minutes ago or an hour or so ago telling you in that speech to be pursuing your dream, the dream has to be something which is more tangible. As India becomes much like the Western world, very consumer centric, very materialistic, what's also happening is that the differences in between wage levels, in between wealth levels, in between income levels are going up drastically, and that will tend to unsettle you from time to time, saying that, hey, I make X and this guy makes 5X, and why am I not that guy, and what do I do? And that may cause you to take the most irrational decisions that you will. And just because it is fashionable to change a job every few years, it's not good to change your job every few years. The best careers that I have seen have been built by people who've grown themselves as their organizations have grown. You should not be scared that there is no cushion to fall back on, and if there is a dream, go ahead and pursue it. But just because of this thing about, somebody is making 5X of me and he did that because he hop, skipped and jumped 3 jobs, and I will possibly do it in 2 days, 2 years, 3 years, that's not good strategy. So that's my single biggest advice. Whatever be your action, decision, there has to be a sense of purpose around it, right? Think through what you're doing, and this difference should never be the guiding principle for what you're trying to do and how you're making your decisions. Thank you.
Thank you so much.